Lil Eazy, what's up?
Most definitely good, man. Good, man.
Good to see you again.
Oh yeah, long time.
It's been some years.
Yeah.
Before Vlad TV.
Really?
DVD.
I know. I just tripped off that when I was walking up. I said, "Wow."
So let's start from the beginning. Your dad is Eazy-E.
Uh-huh.
You're the oldest child?
Yes, most definitely.
Okay. And there's 10 brothers and sisters total?
Yeah. Well, the recent finding of one more, so I guess he hit the 11.
Oh, we hit 11.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
There was a new kid that popped up.
Yeah.
There's a boy or girl?
Boy. About my age. Uh-huh.
About your age?
Well, not too far from me. Name's Eric.
Name Eric.
Really? Yeah.
Boy, Easy.
It's funny, as he just actually left the day you hit me. Actually, the day he was leaving, and I got the text to come do the interview, and we just did a little family thing. He went through the whole process of a blood test, you know what I mean? Oh. And he contacted me 8 years ago, I would say, when I was working at Ruthless Records. I remember the day like it was yesterday, and I looked at his picture and I was like, wow, his name said Eric Wright. So, it was a long story. His mom kind of just vanished off, went to Memphis, you know what I mean? So he lives in Memphis. He's originally from Inglewood, so just vamped off when he was young, and he just wanted to reach out. He's a truck driver, just wanted to reach out before his mom passed away to get closure to his family. So it was kind of touching, you know what I mean? And it was cool, you know what I mean? It just kind of, was got to get that brother vibe real quick, you know what I mean? So, that was an extra addition to my father's family, kids.
So Eazy had 2 sons named Eric.
Real talk. Yeah.
That's pretty crazy when you really think about it.
Yes, most definitely.
Eric 1 and Eric 2.
Really.
Well, you were the first Eric.
Firstborn.
Okay. What's the age difference between you and Eric 2?
Oh wow. So hey, that's something for the interview. I'm April. He's August.
Wow.
1984.
June, July. You were 3 months older than him. You guys look alike?
He favors my father's older brother's kids, and he has a favor of my father, you know what I mean? But maybe if you look at each other, you might see his dreads, I have braids, who knows?
Me and Ree talk sometimes.
Henry. Yeah, that's the other edition. She was found out about a little less than a year ago. So this came back to back. So it's like when you ask me the question, I'm like, oh wow, don't know that I actually been going through this, you know what I mean? I'll say about a year for her, because I was out of town on a tour with Yella, and I got a call. She hit me on Instagram, and she be real. She hit me on Instagram. She says like, hey, I want to ask you something. So you know me, I'm like, hey, how you doing, sweetheart? I'm like, oh, look, it got me one. You know what I mean? It's going down in them. So she hit me, and she says, I have a question, and I'm like, go ahead, ask me, sweetheart. Anything you want to know, ask me. Usually fans will hit you with, I got a question, a father question or anything like that. About my father, saying. So I said, yeah, go ahead. And she's like, I have a thought that I might be your sister. So then after the first initial thought was, damn, like I thought I had me one.
No, but I was like, you don't want that, buddy.
No, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh yeah, like, ooh, stop it. You know what I mean?
You don't want that one.
And then, I said, wow, okay. She ran me her story. It's funny because I had a meeting with Jerry Heller a little bit while after that, and I ran it by him because it just hit my head. He wanted to meet me just as a man growing up, so I took a meeting with him, and it's just significant that I asked him that, bringing him up, about she was Hispanic and Italian. I'm not Hispanic, African American and Italian. I was a dancer, young girl, and I asked him about him. You know what I mean? And he's like, that lived in a certain area. He's like, oh my goodness, knowing your father, Eric. And I ran a name. He said, the name kind of sounds familiar. So I was like, hey, it's just on my mind, because this was the first new individual that said, hey, I'm your after my father's passed. When he passed, we found out about our 2 brothers and sisters that the initial first 5 of us didn't grow up with. And then she was the first girl after, say 19 years that came out of nowhere. So it kind of like, oh, wow. So let's see, because the girl has a significant look of some of us. And so it made me ask Jerry. She went through the process with my sister, Erica, getting a test. This was my grandfather was alive, my father's father, which passed away not too long ago. So he was one that did it, and my father's mother did it, and her test came back that she was. And same with my brother Eric, which just did it a couple of months ago, less than 2 months ago, to tell you the truth, what I'm saying? And so those are the 2 additions to the family, which notched it up, You know what I mean? to 11.
Oh.
So that's cool. That's cool. But yeah, she was a surprise.
So she told me that all the kids have never been in the same room together.
Wow.
Most of them, but not all of them.
Yeah. Very, 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 very good question. I just had a meeting, hopefully to do a reality show about my family, but which will, really, of all of us together, something that I put together with my sister Erin as well, Evie. And speaking of Evie, yeah, a lot of them have not been together because a lot have grown up. You know, you have some that might feel like, hey, the struggle and the pain that we went to, and to see that somebody came out of nowhere 19, 20 years later, like, why don't you, a lot of brothers and sisters, to be honest with you, why don't you come forward when he passed away, which we have two brothers and sisters, you know, Raven and Marquise, young Easy, that came at that time. You know, my grandparents and a lot of the family knew about them, but as kids, we didn't. You know, I think I'm 10 and I was the oldest. So you trickle it down. The next oldest was about 7 years old to 2 to newborn, you know, to 3 years old. So me being 10, I turned 11 maybe about 2 weeks after we buried my father. And at the funeral, we were introduced to our little brothers and sisters. We have a picture with Raven. Marquise, we didn't know till a little bit after. So a lot of them will have that inside them, like, okay, you know, N.W.A, Eazy-E's coming out. It's just this new, you know, surge of just his whole legacy coming. You know, we're like, what happened when he passed away? Wouldn't reach out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's the truth. Yeah, a lot of them have not been in the same room together because a lot have not been able to grasp hold of that I have a brother, sister. You know, I'm a family man, and I have children myself. So you know, sorry, like father, like son, by different mothers. I'm strong on keeping them. It's not about you guys. It's about the kids. You know, he did this for us. You see what I'm saying? So this legacy is about keeping us together. But hey, you know, that's, like I say, that's why hopefully I get a rap show to get a little intervention with us. But a lot of them have not been together in the same room.
So you were 10 years old, almost 11, when your dad passed.
Most definitely.
How much time did you guys really get to spend together while he was alive?
Oh wow, a lot.
Because you were his first baby.
Yeah, I was a transition to him becoming an entertainer.
Yeah,
moving from the street.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
No problem.
He was how old when he had you?
My father, when he had me, my father was 21, 84. So I'm tripping. Yeah, 21, 84. He was 20, going on 21 that year.
So he was a baby himself.
Yeah, exactly.
So 20 years old, first kid. And this was before N.W.A.
Yeah. This is before he thought about anything from DJing to getting into the DJing crew to even just focusing himself to transition to music. Yeah, way before that. We're talking to street Easy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're talking 20 years old, like doing music, but everybody know the history. 84, I'm born 84. N.W.A. surged underground like that in 86. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So this is some time before that.
And they really didn't start to pop off until about 89,
exactly.
90.
You know
that's
what I mean?
when.
Yeah, we're talking the
Eazy-E's
first
album.
records were recorded at the house I was born in, at the house he was born in
right.
a garage, same place I was born and raised. So we're talking about then, because the significant turn, you know, I'll give you a little sneak peek of, you know, people think, you know, they will think, but know, you know, more stories and bigger things are going to come on my father's story. But I'm going to give you a sneak of realism of his life. You got to think when he transitioned his lane in the hustle game was my cousin Horace, and he passed away in 84, right when I was born. So it was just a current event of things that transitioned him to say, hey, I'm gonna make, you know, some real money, you know what I mean, some legit money. This is not, I got a son, my cousin passed away, he was basically like the plug, you know what I mean, and my father was his right-hand man. So it's just a whole transition of things, and current events came into his life. And then he said, like I say, so people like yourself know, didn't flourish till 89, but they recorded about 86, 87.
Right.
So yeah, I was a focal point for a while before that.
Sure. What were some of the most prominent memories that you have?
Oh
with your
man,
dad?
we used to do a lot. It's like funny, I just got on Instagram. Somebody made me think back. He said, hey, I don't think you know me, but man, you used to go to Montessori Children's Academy. So I went to Montessori Children's, and all I remember is your dad used to come pick you up all the time. And we were kids, we didn't even know who he was, but just to see his legacy, man, it's just like, wow, you know, it's a pleasure to say that, you know, I went to school with you. And I dawned on that, you know, like he made me really think about it, about the times he did. He used to just come and pick me up from school. It was his weekend to grab me. He's in town, he doesn't have nothing to do, and he'll surprise me, you know what I mean, saying he'll just come pick me up. It's like, you know, you had the big kids, because, you know what I mean, it went from 2 years old, Montessori children kind of went from 2 years old to 14.
Yeah.
So it was older kids who were running to the gate, like, oh my God, look who's here.
It's easy.
You know what I mean? And then my kids, my generation is, you know what I mean, 4 or 5 years old, 6 years old. I'm like, dang, why they, you know, this is the same thing that happens when we go to Disneyland. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's just like, you know, daddy's somebody. Because, you know, it was a lot of times it didn't focus on me, how big he was, you know what I mean? Or, oh, my grandmother popped on TV, or daddy's going to be on Fox 11 News, you know, with the whole F the police, FBI thing.
Right.
I'm like, oh, wow, you know what I mean? Those things didn't dawn on to me till we were out in public and I see people's reaction. So, you know, that Instagram post made me, that message made me really dawn on a fond memory that you're asking me about the times you should just come and pick me up. Karate class, I'm testing for my blue belt, right. You know what I mean? I'm in karate, I look up and he's walking in and everybody's like, you know, turning their head, and he's came in to watch me, you know, him and Jake and John, his bodyguards, come to watch me test for my belt. And, you know, stuff like that just inspired you. Now, I gave a kid a busted nose now, you know, dang, Eric, you're going hard. Well, daddy's over there. So that to Disneyland trips, to being at the house with him, you know what I mean? I got good memories being at the Forum when they're performing, meeting celebrities that I didn't know who they were, him joking on me. Like, I remember one, he's like, guess who stood next to Janet Jackson and didn't say nothing? So my daddy said, who? You know, my uncle said that to him. He said, Eric. He said, are you crazy, man? And I'm like, huh? He's like, you didn't even grab a hug or nothing like that? Tell who your daddy was? Like, nah. You know, he said he just stood there. I said, I didn't know who she was. Janet Jackson, like, that's the pretty girl with the brother who could dance. Yeah, like,
Michael Jackson.
Like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So just different little stuff like we used to joke and clown about like that. It's just memories that sit in the back of your head from him being in a shower cap, telling me to come him in his room, in his bed, you know, living his last house he had. Not the small house in the movie, but the last house he had in Woodland Hills, the biggest house he had. And he said, come here. And I said, what's that? He said, what you think about this? And it was da-da-da-da, easy. It was just to let you know. And I'm like, you know, as I think, as I'm a grown man now, at that point in time, I was like, people ask me, what's your thoughts? Like, why is he asking me that? Like, I don't know. I like everything he does. You know what I mean? Like, but it touched me because you cared to ask me, you know, so it stuck in me. You know what I mean? Those memories stuck in me. Like, dang, daddy cared to ask me, you know?
So at 10 years old, your dad ends up getting sick. How did you find out about it initially?
My grandmother. I was raised by his parents since I was 2 when I started transitioning to the school, Montessori. And so I was raised by them. I was, you know, basically the same thing he went through, I went through with them. They, everything they taught him just taught me good parents. My grandmother told me, we're going to go see your daddy. And he's not feeling well. And I said, oh, okay, where we going? You going to his house? It was odd. It was an odd day. So it's like, you know, and I expect that it was possibly a weekday, you know, that we're, you know, I'm going over there. Like, he didn't come pick me up. So, and we're going to go see him at the hospital. So as a kid, it didn't really take effect. I really twickered my ears because we're going to go see my father. You know what I mean? Like, oh, okay. It was occasions but on holidays that we'll go out to his house for the holidays. But, you know, back up to the time he spent, every holiday he spent with me. Every holiday he spent in Compton, right, where I'm born and raised, with my grandparents. And so sometimes we used to go out. So when she said that, I'm like, okay. And then she gave me the thing like, this was after we left the hospital, that he was sick like Magic Johnson. And it still didn't dawn on me. You know, she's just what the best she can say. So when I went to see him, it didn't affect me because he was normal. You know what I mean? He was cool. He was joking. My father's a jokester, so we joke all the time, you know, between the Janet Jackson story and different stories I got in my mind. We used to always joke, like my father was a jokester. You know, and then being with his mother, they always say like, oh, he act like his daddy so much, because I joke around with people. So we're joking. He wanted to eat McDonald's. It's significant that I know this, you know, that you asked me this, because this is just in my head. that I remember that he wanted McDonald's that night. He was eating a hamburger. And my grandmother kept telling him you couldn't eat solid foods like that. And he started coughing. And that was because, he had the cough, the bronchial cough, and fluid in his lungs. So eating solid food like that wasn't too good. But he was like, Mama, I can't eat this. So he wanted to eat the McDonald's. And I was joking to him about the McDonald's. So I remember coughing a little bit, not too well, and getting some water. We stayed there with him for a while, and then we left. You know what I mean? And then I didn't go back until things got a little bad. You see what I'm saying? But then that's how I found out my grandmother, really.
So then you went back how long after that?
Wow. That's where it goes blank and not remembering. But it was a while. It was not too long. It was maybe a couple of days to less than a week.
Okay.
And then this time he's going in for a procedure. And then when he goes into a procedure, I was actually right there. It was like they opened that door and I could see. And like him pumping on his chest when he kind of went in and out, and doctors rushing in and out. And we went to see him earlier that day, which was normal like it was. Then before you go to this procedure, or this to get fluid off your lungs, and then when he comes out, he has tubes in his mouth and he can't talk. But he's irrelevant. He just can't talk because I seen him when he came out. And I just remember people crying because I was literally standing at the door, like, my visual memory of it is just like that was a terror because it's just my auntie run and cry, and doctors keep rushing in and out, and you're hearing that sound like dee 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 dee, and then pumping him. So then when he came out, he went without talking into having tubes in his mouth, and I went to see him, and really more so just him kind of crying and me crying. So, it was no more words. A couple of days later, they tell me he died.
How did you feel when they said that? I mean, did you know that he was going to die when you saw the tubes? No? You thought he would just pull through?
No. Give me a second. Nah, I didn't know none of it. So when I got the call, it was just really like like he's not here. Like, kind of like, and I was told it was a plug pulled or he couldn't go through or he couldn't take it no more. And then from then on, it was just downhill. And, my father's not here. I didn't see him after that day that I held his hand, and he cried and he couldn't talk, but he can hear everything I'm talking or saying to him. He's responding to me. So I didn't understand it till when he come back and he's not here.
How long after he passed did you have the funeral? Like a few days later?
March 26th he passed. We buried him April 7th. And then I turned 11 April 23rd.
Did you know any of the other N.W.A. members?
Yeah, at that time, kid? Yeah, they used to come to the house all the time. Yellow fondly. I remember Cube, I have light memory when we were younger, seeing him all over the house. Dre, most definitely. You know what I mean? And I've Ren, of course, he grew up around the corner from where I'm born and raised. So, yeah, I see him all the time coming by the house, just him popping up. And me being a kid, just sitting there, it's like, hey, I was in a room with all these dudes in black. That's with my daddy. So, yeah.
Now, Yellow mentioned that he was the only N.W.A. member that went to the funeral.
Some people probably just can't take it. Couldn't, actually take it. You never know. I don't know what the reasons they are. We never talked about it, even to this day. That subject can never get talked about.
Did Cube and Dre show up at the hospital?
They all showed up at the hospital, yeah.
Okay, you showed up at the hospital?
Yeah, I went to the hospital too.
When I put the first dirt on my father's casket, my brother put the second, Derek Wright, and Yellow's his godfather, so Yellow was standing right there with us. If everybody, look of any footage that you see, Yellow's right there with us while we're the first ones to put dirt on his casket, but he's the only one there.
Yeah, and Yellow was, I guess, the closest.
N.W.A. member, but had a lot of them that were involved with Ruthless Records, like Big Man, what I'm saying, Big A. It's a lot of individuals from Compton that have big name. I mean, that's my father's friends that were definitely in attendance, but when you speak of N.W.A. members, yeah.
He probably got something going on in L.A. where he might have needed that shit. I don't know why he showed up with it. Probably thinking like, man, little young wild nigga from Chicago like guns. Want to see a gun. It was a nice gun. It was nice.
Little to none. I just got in a little altercation. And I guess that other case was so weak, they wanted to put something on me. And so they charged me with a riot in the penal facility.
So it was really just a regular fight?
It's a little physical altercation.